Ah, okay. We just reset the stream. Okay. Check 1, 2, check 1, 2. So hopefully when the stream comes back, we had to reset it pretty quickly there. Roland, you better be listening to this bad boy. And tell me if that fixes it. Hopefully, it's good. We're golden. Alright, there we go. We're finally in the game. We're only 2 minutes in, but now we're finally working. Woo! Okay, so we'll tweak audio settings after this game, and I'm probably going to switch back to the other headset, but at least we've got a temporary quick fix here. I'm not really sure what went wrong, but... Oh, thank you for dealing with it here, folks. So, okay, let's introduce our teams here. We've got TongFu on the Radiant side. Up here in the off lane, it will be MT playing on the Centaur War Runner. In the mid lane, it will be U9 on the Outworld Devourer. They'll have a tri-lane down bottom. Sorry, Fox. What? What's too loud? Just my mic? Okay. Alright, we'll try this. Okay, anyway. Axe down bottom here. I'm still... Man, oh, God, I hate this mic. Urgh. Dark Seer's about to die. There you go. There's your first blood.
The blade of axe
I don't
has tasted first blood.
Technology, man. I don't understand it. Okay. Yeah, we'll finish tweaking audio settings after this game. Anyway, we just saw our first blood come out. XBG playing on the Shadow Shaman here down bottom, and Q will be on the support Dazzle as well. TongFu will get their first blood. They'll finish off XTT, who is playing on the offlane Darkseer here. In the mid lane, it will be Kaka playing on the Ember Spirit, doing that Flame Guard build that he loves oh so much. S going to be in the jungle on the Enchantress, and that means up top it will be Pretty Hall on the support Rubik. And he will be supporting ZSMJ, and that means it will be a carry Wraith King to go with this carry Ember Spirit. So, what are we looking at here? Looks like Wraith King off to a pretty darn good start. He is going to be 20-7, our last hit leader here in this game. And TongFu are running a position 1 axe in the, at the moment. So we didn't chat too much during the draft as we were still getting things set up here with our array of technological issues, but the position 1 axe was probably a good read, given that HGT had 3 melee core heroes with just that Rubik pickup, and they did do a 5th pick Enchantress. So axe is just really powerful in general against heroes or a melee heavy lineups, and he can be alright to deal with Wraith King a little bit. Culling Blade doesn't have too much to do with reincarnation, but just good at securing kills in general. Up top, we'll see Centaur get engaged upon. A big rotation coming out from HGT, but a huge hoof stomp from MT. He'll try and walk back to safety, but it won't be enough, and Rubik will finish him off with that Fade Bolt there. But a pretty big rotation. Looks like HGT will try and turn this into a Tier 1 tower push, as they well should. They do have the Enchantress with them, but she's lost all of her creeps, so not a huge amount of... pardon me, she does have the Dark Troll Summoner here, and he's got himself the Ion Shell. He'll make a little of those skeleton babies, but not a lot of pushing power in general. No Wild Wing Ripper for that huge armor aura. They may still be able to finish off this tower. TongFu not really in a great position to try and make a hold. It is just the Centaur now rejoining the fray. Meanwhile, down bottom, TongFu with the right idea. They will counter with a tower push of their own, and it's going pretty darn well. Creeps will start to get cleaned up here on the dire side of things. And Centaur just trying to hang around, won't be able to secure the deny. Down bottom, HGT opt to burn their glyph. Will just buy them a little bit of time. Tower still falls. This one, Axe will finish off, and that'll be a big boost to gold going his way. So a pretty even exchange on both sides. Only difference is Axe getting that tower last hit versus the Dire actually getting the last hit of the Radiant top tier 1.
Denied.
Centaur having an okay time in lane. He is going to be 11-4 compared to the 14-0 Darkseer, who is down bottom. And both of them getting a rather comparable amount of experience, just recently hitting level 5. And we see a ping or two coming out on the Darkseer. Looks like they may want to try and set something up. Darkseer not the easiest hero to gank, though. If you catch him in shackles, if you can catch him in a Berserker's Call after the Surge, maybe you can set up the kill, but that Surge kind of negates the slows that Dazzle puts out. And even so, Dazzle didn't go that super aggressive build. Does opt for the Shadow Wave and as kind of the primary here. 1-1-2 at level 4, and he'll rotate back towards the mid lane. Now, OD, he's off to a good start, and he has become our last hit leader now, 35-17 against the 19-4 Ember Spirit. So, Kaka struggling more than a little bit here in the mid lane. He is now level 6. He hasn't been picked off quite yet, but OD doing what OD does best, stacking up that insteal, making Ember's life a little bit more difficult. And, well, we'll see a gank come in here from HGT. It seems pretty Ha&S. Rotating on in. It will be a Centaur as well as a Satyr Tormentor. And Dazzle with an invisibility rune. He'll actually break the smoke and scout it out. MT coming down as well. There's Poison out on top of the Enchantress. The aggressive Astral. Telekinesis down to the low ground. Double bowl is coming out from Kaka, but oh boy, that Enchantress. She's just taking heavy damage. Just the Sanity's Eclipse from the Outworld Devourer, and it's not over yet. Ember Spirit doing a fair bit of damage, but right now TongFu just have the numbers. Axe will get finished off as the Fire Remnants come forward. Dazzle falls as well. The defensive Astral. Now HGT, they'll clean it up. Darkseer will finish off the OD, and that'll end as a 1-for-3 triple kill coming out for the Darkseer. And XTT in the right place at the right time. The Ion Shell paired with the Flame Guard. Holy Toledo, folks. That is not a combo that I've been privy to, but that is a lot of damage over time. Level 7, we see a level 4 Flame Guard, and we see a level 3 Ion Shell here at this level 6 Ishkafel. And, wow, just too much damage for TongFu to handle. They had the Dazzle spamming that Shadow Wave, trying to put out as much sustain as he could, but it just simply wasn't enough to deal with all of those DOTs. And TongFu will pay for their aggression. They did get that first kill, but it cost them the Sanity's Eclipse. So it certainly didn't come for free. A big OD cooldown. And, well, already falling a bit behind here. OD going for a mech first. He has himself the buckler and the headdress, so that early farm, as was once the last hit leader here, will have a pretty well-timed mech. And a smart choice. It's usually the mech of the 4 staff first when it comes to OD. You need some sort of a survivability-based item, and mech makes a lot of sense here. They don't really have a great mech carrier. I do like running mech on my Dazzle, but hard to farm it, especially since he's kind of just hiding in the trees here. Let's hit the gold graph. Small edge for HGT, about 7,500 gold and experience coming from the trio of kills they just picked up. And that'll give Darkseer more than enough to make a full recovery here. He's now close to level 8. And how's our Centaur buddy doing? Well, he's well into level 7. Of course, does have the Stampede online. But HGT, they are turning up the heat. They are keeping it aggressive, and it will be a 3-hero rotation down to this bottom lane. They see themselves a solo Shadow Shaman, and they are hungry for blood. They'll cut the lane here. Still smoked up. But Shadow Shaman, he doesn't even know it's coming. Maybe he'll sense it now. There's the Fire Remnant forward. Bolas, he will actually drop the wards here. Hex comes out. And there's the Shackle as well. Maybe they'll have enough for Kaka. Yep, he'll get decapitated by the axe. Still costing their Shadow Shaman, but it's a 1-for-1. HGT maybe overcommitting here. They'll get the kill on the Enchantress. Darkseer trying to make it out, but the rest of the team joining the party now. They'll get the kill on axe. And that makes it a 2-for-2 as the rest of HGT do retreat to safety. But it is a 5-man rotation from the Hyper Glory team. And TongFu will hold. That'll make it a 2-for-2. And OD gets a lot of space to free farm here in the mid lane. Won't be able to pressure this tower too hard, but pretty favorable exchange for the Radiant side, I think. They lose their axe, but they also do pick up a kill on the Ember Spirit. So kind of a wash across the board. Aside from that, just a couple of supports getting picked here and there. Quite the aggressive game we've got on our hands, though. HGT looking to grab an edge early on. ZSMJ on the carry Wraith King. Looks like he'll be going Power Treads, possibly into a Drum of Endurance here. Grabbed himself the Bracer. You never know. Could just be a casual Bracer. Also picked up that Quelling Blade just for good measure. And will rotate into the jungle. Did grab that value point in Vampiric Aura, so will make his neutral farming a bit easier. And only 2 points in the Mortal Strike, but off to a pretty good start here. I believe he's top in the net worth chart. No, he's not, actually. Top 3, but it is the OD in the #1 position here with just about 4K worth of net worth. And that will be a mech now up in the inventory. Enchantress with a nice little counter ward down here in the bottom lane. We'll clear out the Observer that was on the high ground. And they'll just move straight into the Radiant jungle. They've got a ward down on the entry path as well. They know it's reasonably clear. And TongFu, they know that there's a trap set in their jungle, but they're ready to fight. They'll actually smoke up. And they may walk right into HGT. This will be a 5v4. HGT have one on the backside, and it is the Ember Spirit. Luckily, he is the more mobile hero. But wow, here we go. There's the smoke, the Stampede forward. They will catch the Darkseer. That'll be enough to secure that kill. There's the Astral coming out on whoever that is stuck in the Astral. It is ZSMJ on the Wraith Knight. Dazzle will fall, though, as Kaka joins the battle. Rasta wards come down. Axe taking pretty heavy damage as well. Not the engagement that TongFu were looking for. Now they'll go back in as 3. This could be a disaster. Hoofstomp connects with 1, but MT, he'll take pretty heavy damage. Big Sanity's Eclipse come out. Will it be enough to turn this around? Axe will actually buy back here. He'll port back to the tower. Rasta ward's doing a fair bit of damage to CSMJ, but not enough to keep the Shadow Shaman alive. He just can't take the damage from this Ember Spirit. Axe now back in the party. The defensive Astral coming out. Maybe Axe can pick up a couple kills here. The Rasta ward's actually doing a lot of damage, but Dazzle there with the support. Sorry, Fox. Will get the grave. He'll survive for now. Weave comes out. Kaka coming back in, looking to finish off the Axe. Won't find it. And now they'll retreat out. A rather chaotic fight, but I think HGT do come out the victors there. Absolutely they do. 1 buyback apiece. That is 1 on the Axe and 1 on the Darkseer. These teams very committed to that early fighting. And I think that does favor TongFu pretty heavily here, mostly because of that mech advantage. They've just got so much more sustain between the mech and the Dazzle. Darkseer working on a mech, but still only about halfway to the recipe with those first few core items. There is now a Vanguard up on Axe, also a great item for these early skirmishes. One of those items that doesn't scale particularly well, but the earlier you pick it up, the more damage it mitigates. And also a very early Blink Dagger on this Centaur. I think he picked it up just before that fight started. So right around that 10:30, 11-minute mark or so. Really a pretty solid timing. And they just had everything they needed to take that fight pretty well. It seemed like dropping the Rasta wards was a bit premature in that fight, but they were able to keep the engagement surrounding the wards. And, well, they actually did a lot of damage. Ember Spirit was the big playmaker, though, and he is going for this this pretty common build we've been seeing in Chinese Dota. Flame Guard primary, Sleight of Fist secondary, and then leveling up the Bola. And again, like we mentioned, with that Ion Shell, it's pretty scary. A lot of damage over time. And we saw it displayed for us in that fight. TongFu will group up about the mid lane. They've got 5 heroes, and they will press forward. Rasta wards. They're off cooldown. They'll get thrown down, and now this tower will take some pretty heavy pressure. They do force out the Glyph. Sleight of Fist does connect onto the Axe, but he's pretty darn tanky. Vanguard does help on that front. There's the mech coming out on the Darkseer. HGT, they've got some new tools to play around with. They are ready to fight. No reincarnation on the Wraith King. Best they can hope for here is a deny on this tower. And they'll find it. No, they won't. Shadow Shaman finishes it off with the wards. They try to use that Bola to secure the deny, but they just can't do it. And TongFu will clear out their 2nd tower kill of the game. That will be the 3rd tower overall, making it 2-1. Advantage going to the Radiant side. Now HGT, the aggression just doesn't stop in this game, folks. They'll smoke up. They'll rotate bottom. Looking to catch TongFu off guard, but it will be TongFu who may bump into them. They've got their 5-man squad now rotating south. And HGT, they could get wrapped around upon. Maybe Darkseer will get caught out here. TongFu just looking for the opening. They know they're missing off the map. Checking out Roshan. But here we go. Coming in, Shadow Shaman the target of choice. Wraithfire Blast to start it off. Rasta wards come down once again. What's the cooldown on those things? Oh, wait a second. Those are Dire wards. They've been stolen by the Rubik. He'll fall, but still he gets the wards down. TongFu, they're going to lose their Centaur. They've already lost their Shadow Shaman. It is a 2-for-1 going the way of HGT. They'll press forward, looking for U9. And he is not out of the clear quite yet. Working towards a 4 staff, but he will make it out. Ember Spirit won't go for it. He might have been able to secure that kill. Brown Boots versus FaZe Boots. All it takes is a connect with a Bola. They already had a pretty big advantage on the field. Probably could have pursued, but doesn't want to dive the tower. And HGT, they'll find a successful fight. They press forward and they clear out their 2nd tier 1 tower of the game, and that will level out the tower count. We're right back to an even game here, folks. And actually glancing at the graphs here, experience edge for HGT, and gold pretty much zeroed out. It will dip down into the favor of the Dire once that tower kill updates. Wraith King starting to get a little bit scarier here. Does have his Drum of Endurance up. Did upgrade that Bracer. 1900 gold, probably pulling for the Blink. We talked about it yesterday, and that really is core on the Wraith King here in this current meta. He needs something to close that gap, needs something to get up in your face, and Blink Dagger is a good way to do that. We'll see if he picks it up after this creep wave here. That should be the tell. And yep, moves right over to the secret shop. And no, it's not the Blink, actually. Helm of Iron Will, just playing with us a little bit. Could have picked up the Helm a little while ago here, but waits until he has just enough money for the Blink Dagger, and then he picks up the 950 Helm of Iron Will. And Yep, he's got the armlet recipe coming on the courier. Still a very solid item on the Wraith King, especially when there's no Ancient Apparition on the opposition. The Vampiric Aura does help to mitigate some of that damage over time you take from the armlet itself. Rubik doing quite well. Level 8 does have himself the Arcane Boots. Kaka has the Drum of Endurance complete, but still needs to get it in the inventory, and it looks like Darkseer will just transition into a pipe. Pretty standard build. TongFu with another 5-man rotation into the mid lane. They'll have another smoke coming from the Dazzle, and they'll burn it. They've still got a smoke left. And let the ganking continue. They'll press forward. They've got their big cooldowns available. Sanity's Eclipse, as well as the wards. Stampede, they'll have forward. Axe with the blink now. They'll catch Kaka. That's Berserker's call. Transitioned into a kill. Centaur picks that one up, but double blinks coming out. They are ready to gank. Wraithfire Blast out on the Centaur. They've burned their Stampede now, and they press forward onto the Rubik. Pretty Haw. He's pretty out of position. He will not survive to tell the tale on that one. Other shock to finish him off. Rubik actually buys back here. Big vacuum into wall. Rasta wards come down. They're on the Radiant side this time, doing some damage to ZSMJ. They will finish off the Shadow Shaman, though. Big ultimate from the OD. That'll proc the Wraith King ulti. He'll be coming right back. Sorry, Fox with the Grave. Rubik stealing the Rasta wards once again. Throws him down, but won't be able to do a hell of a lot with him. S. Trying to pursue, but he won't find it. TongFu once again coming out ahead there. They lose their Rasta, but they pick up a few others in exchange. The Ember Spirit as well as the Rubik. And of course, Rubik did buy back. HGT still ahead on the graph in gold and experience. But TongFu continuing to find these nice little exchanges. Rubik just been doing a fabulous job sealing these wards. Seems every engagement we've seen, it's a double set of wards coming down. One from the Rasta and one from the Ruby Tuesday himself. HGT now pressing forward, chipping away at the tier 1 tower in the mid lane. Glyph comes out, and they'll make a hold for now. Bolas will connect on the Axe. Enchantress with a Wild Wing Ripper, using that Tornado right in the middle of the fray. Clearing up the creep wave and zoning out TongFu a little bit here. Sleight of Fist getting spammed like crazy. But Wraith King is now level 11, has the ultimate on cooldown for another 80 seconds. He did hit level 11 for the level 2 reincarnation before he died. And that means it will be coming up very quickly here. That's actually a pretty big deal. It goes from 260 to 160. That is a pretty big difference.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Kaka hasn't made too much item progression. I still think this Wraith King, the armlet not bad, but he needs a gap closer of sorts. Look at that Wild Wing Ripper. It does reveal their smoke. 9-13 here at the 19-minute mark. And TongFu, they will be forced back for now. They'll position behind their tower as HGT press forward. There's the stolen Rasta wards. No Glyph available for the Radiant, and I think this will be a tower kill. Yep, that'll be the last of the tier 1 towers. Does actually get denied by the Shadow Shaman. And now TongFu, they're on the defensive. HGT pressing forward. Axe hops forward with the Berserker's Call. They'll catch Kaka. This time the Rasta wards come down. It looks like Dazzle may take some heavy damage here, and he'll end up falling to the Rubik. ZSMJ not out of the clear. No reincarnation. He's down, and he's not coming back. Astral Use, they're going to set up another kill here, and it's going to be on the Darkseer. He'll pop out. There's the Hoof Stomp. They'll decapitate him, and a triple kill here for Sorry Fox on the Axe. He's not sorry about jack shit, ladies and gentlemen. He's picking up kills left and right, now sitting pretty at level 11. Has that Culling Blade available once again. They want to pursue onto Pretty Haw, but he'll find himself an invisibility rune, and that'll keep him alive, but he'll actually reveal himself, and uh-oh, he's in big trouble. The Blink Squad coming. The Fireman coming. There's the telekinesis on the Centaur, but you can't telekinesis them both. Axe hops forward. He did steal the Hoof Stomp, a nice stun, but it's just not enough. He'll fall, but uh-oh, in comes the Ember Spirit. That's a counter kill on the Centaur. Looking for a kill on the Axe as well. He gets Graved, then Astral. They'll try and pursue onto the OD. Fire Remnants forward. Force Staff back, just not enough. OD falls, and Axe, he makes it out. He ports back to safety. So it was a good fight for TongFu, but hearts get together, they'll clean it up. And they get some much-needed kills there on two pretty high-value targets, the OD as well as the Centaur. And with that, HGT just moves straight into the Roche pit. They go after themselves the Satyr Tormentor. Unholy Aura for a little bit of extra regen. He'll take up Roche, and not the riskiest of Roches, but I think they'll be able to do it here. Rubik no longer with the Rost Award. But there's just no ability to contest from TongFu. So smart read from HGT. They'll be rewarded. That will be an Aegis going their way.
Dire's top
We'll
tower
probably
is
go
under
to ZSMJ.
Roshan has fallen
They're
to
thinking
the
about it, but nope, they'll give it to Kaka. So they'll give it to their squishy Ember Spirit. Not a bad choice. We see some teams that like giving it to the Wraith King, even though he does have an Aegis already with that ultimate. Having the double Aegis can be pretty potent, especially when he's in position 1. Makes it difficult to focus him down. Or makes you think
Dire's
twice
top
about it,
tower
kind of.
is under attack.
But they'll give it to the Ember
Dire's
instead.
top
Very
tower has
squishy, and he's now
fallen.
13. He has that full rotation. And we'll probably be looking to transition into a Battle Fury build here. So never bad to give your Ember Spirit the Aegis.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Put a Defiance up on the Centaur. And Axe. He's now got himself an Ogre Club, so probably looking for a BKB. We'll put out the Berserker's Call into the Wild Wing, but they don't even pursue to it. Blink Dagger on the Shadow Shaman. More initiation power for TongFu now. The tempo of this game is quite strange. Both teams just eager to teamfight, as it seems. Looks like we'll have some sort of a connection issue here. Haven't a clue what they're saying. Roland is zoned into Star Ladder right now. He's too busy to translate for me. Gonna save the voice a little bit here, folks. I will be solo for our remaining 5 matches. We do have 3 best of 2s, of course, which does mean for 6 games coming up here for WPC Ace tonight. And there was actually a game, one of the series was rescheduled. And let me see here if I can pull up my schedule real quick. So tonight was originally supposed to be just TongFu versus CIS and then TongFu versus Hearts get together. But they added on a Titan versus Orange matchup. And I'm not even sure where that came from. It wasn't on my schedule the night before. So we'll have 3 best of 2s tonight, and then we're actually going to have 3 best of 2s again tomorrow night. We'll have 2 WPC matches, and then tomorrow we'll have plenty of inaugural coverage. So much Dota. Dota. So what day of the week is it? Is today Friday? Yes, it sure is. So we'll check out the players here while we're stuck in a pause. Look how happy they all look. Everybody looks so friendly. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Roland, that's CSMJ, right? With the epic beard? No, who is that? No, that's on TongFu. Who is that? I recognize him, but I don't remember what his name is. You can't remember? Come on, Roland. I really can't remember. I forget which player it is. He's awesome, though. He looks so fierce. Maybe chat will help me out. They know. They know what's going on. We will resume, though. Looks like HGT has fixed their connection issue. And, I don't know, maybe a keyboard died for a moment there. Chunk, 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 chunk. So there's that Blink Dagger on Wraith King. We will finally pick up that gap closer, and can't say I'm the least bit surprised. I really think it's core on Wraith King here. We've been seeing carry Wraith King a bit more frequently in this patch, and Force Knife can work okay. One of those, like, If they have like a Radiance carrier, sometimes going the Force Staff is a little bit more safe if you are worried about your blink getting interrupted. Regardless, though, you need some sort of a tool to hop on top of your enemy. Enchantress will pick up a gem nice and early on here. So HGT, they're looking to keep it aggressive, and they do want to continue pressing forward. He's playing Axe. That would be... Sorry, Fox. All right, okay. Their Axe player. I've seen him on camera before. He's got one of those just... He's got that killer look in his eye. One of those guys I wouldn't want to play on LAN. Oh, boy. So HGT in pretty good shape right now. They've got a very small gold lead. It's the experience lead that's kind of coming in handy here. Glancing at levels, they do have a pretty decent level advantage. Both their supports, one up on the Radiant supports. And actually their Ember Spirit is the highest level hero in the game. Axe will get initiated upon in mid lane. There's the blink from Wraith King. Hops forward, does start with the Wraith Fire Blast. He gets put inside the Astral, but now OD, he's taking some pretty heavy damage. Kaka, he'll get sheeped up. Those are Radiant Serpent Wards. And now, Shallow Grave from the Dazzle. OD throws an ultimate, but does very little damage. Jekyll out on the Wraith King, but they're just tickling him at this point. OD first to fall, Rubik second to go down. Now Kaka in a bit of trouble. Buys himself some time. Sleight of Fist enough to keep him alive. Scoots forward, that'll proc the Aegis. Say goodbye to the Dazzle. Looks like the Centaur could go down shortly after. ZSMJ will proc the ultimate. That'll set up the rest of these kills. And that'll be a huge exchange for HGT. It ends up being a 4-for-1. They lose their Aegis, so technically a 4-for-2. Sorry, Fox, trying to make the escape. Nice bola connection from Kaka. Vacuum back. That's a dead Axe. That's going to be a full 5-man wipe for the side of TongFu. An unstoppable streak for Axe ended, picked up by the Darkseer. And HGT. Too easy for HGT, folks. They're making it rain up on the side of TongFu. And they might be able to grab this tier 2 tower mid. Won't be the easiest tower push. I don't believe there are Rost wards. No, Rubik was the only one to die. But they'll be able to do a little bit of damage here. They do force out the glyph.
Radiant structures are
They don't need to take out this tower. They got what they came for, a successful team fight. OD's got himself a Force Staff, but wasn't enough to keep him alive there. It was the right idea. He threw out the Astral straight away on the Axe to start off that fight. Bought Axe some time, let him reset. The problem was, as soon as HGT saw that, they switched to the OD. They knew he didn't have an escape. And they did a good bit of damage. Dazzle was there with the Grave. TongFu just have a lot of resets between the Grave, between the Astral, and now with the Force Staff mech. Also, even the Berserker's Call, the Hoof Stomp. They have a lot of ways to reset the fight. A lot of ways to keep their heroes alive and make it difficult for HGT. But one thing the Hyperglory team have done well is just keep switching those targets. Especially in that last fight, they kept ping-ponging around as soon as the Grave came, pardon me, as soon as the Astral came out, they switched targets, he gets Grave, they switched targets again, and they just kept rotating around, and they had the sustain in that fight. They do have a mech out on the Darkseer, and also the Nature's Attendants did come into play in that fight. They're at that point now where the Wraith King, he's just hard to deal with. He hits hard enough that you can't just quite ignore him, but at the same time, you can't really just focus him down. And you almost need to plan your finishing amount of damage around when is it ideal not to get slowed by that reincarnation debuff. And we saw that time as the SMJ got picked off at kind of the ideal time for HGT. Right as those few remaining heroes were trying to make the escape, they got slowed up. It made for easy kills for HGT. Not too much that TongFu could do about it. And they cleaned up. They capitalized, as they like to say. Ember Spirit all of a sudden with 3,500 gold in savings. And that means he's pretty darn close to that Battle Fury if that's what he wants to go for. But could also just go ahead and grab a Desolator if he wants to go for that hard-hitting, I'm gonna crush your face kind of a build. Both would be solid. Honestly, in this game, I think the Desolator would be pretty solid. TongFu really lacking in the armor department. Rasta with 3, 10, 14 on the OD. Axe with 6, and Dazzle with only 4. A lot of low armor heroes. And that would just be so, so potent. Battle Fury, never something that'll scold on an Ember Spirit, but that Desolator build does become quite potent, especially when you have a mid-game edge such as this. Now, TongFu, they'll smoke into the Radiant or the Dire jungle. And the Dire, they might be looking to sniff it out here. They'll rotate in, double damage rune onto Kaka. Geopan. Roland, what's Geopan mean? Yeah, I don't know. An awkward time for a pause, though. Question is, are HGT privy to this? And I don't think that they are. We see some pings coming out in the mid lane. But this is kind of awkward. OD's smoke has now been revealed. A little bit too close to ZSMJ. And this could be a big disaster for TongFu. They've got all their big ults. Sanity's Eclipse, Stampede, and Rost Awards. Weave, Calling Blade, the Decapitation. BKB up on Axe. Here we go. ZSMJ, he blinks forward. That reveals the smoke for the rest of them. Stampede used, but not much comes of it. Bolas come out. A lot of damage coming. Dazzle will get off the grave as well as the Weave. Out come the Rost Awards as well. Sanity's Eclipse. They burned everything. Still no kills. HGT will lose their Ember Spear, but they pick up a kill on the Shadow Shaman. Ember buys back straight away. The OD has already fallen. Looking for some more kills here. They'll find one on the Dazzle. Sorry, Fox, right in the fray. He's not the target, though. It'll just be a disaster for TongFu. They'll lose their Centaur. Axe will be the last to fall, and once again, they'll get a single kill for their entire team. This time it's the Ember Spirit. Kaka buys back. A worthy buyback as he helps clean it up. BKB now picked up by the Dark Seer and Ember Spirit. He's got himself the Mithril Hammer. A bloody disaster for TongFu. Top tier 2 tower falls to the wrath of the creeps. 2 siege engines, wow. And HGT just completely wiping up TongFu. At this point, it's just a matter of sustained damage. They didn't even have enough to proc the ultimate from Wraith King. He's now level 16. Probably would have hurt him more if they didn't. He's now got himself the Maelstrom. Will open up into a Mjolnir. Just too much damage. It's really that Ion Shell versus on top of the Flame Guard. So much damage from HGT. The sustain from the Nature's Attendant. And also that Vampiric Aura. You look at TongFu and they're the ones with the Dazzle and you think, oh yeah, they've got plenty of sustain, but HGT. Vampiric Aura, not something to underestimate. And of course, it does help out those ranged heroes, gives them a bit of additional lifesteal. And just another super convincing team fight. Now we got a 7,500 gold lead, about a 1,200 experience lead. And HGT will transition into a bottom tier 2 tower push. Furthering their gold lead, even a bit more here.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
And all of a sudden, things looking a bit rough for TongFu. Did I say Na'Vi? Or are you guys just talking about Star Ladder?
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Did Na'Vi just lose in Star Ladder, Roland? Nah, he's not listening to me. He's zoned in. Listening to the... He's plugged into the soothing sounds of LD and Merlini.
Dire's middle
Roshan is respawned here. HGT may want to go for it. Not really an ideal Rosh time, but they've got such an edge right now. It's one of those that they can just roll the dice. TongFu just not in a position to contest. Even if they're aware of HGT moving into the pit, HGT can just take a straight fight. Na'Vi just lost to Rock's Kiss. Roland. Na'Vi lost to Rock's Kiss? What happened? Come on, man. I know we're casting WPC, but there's 130 people watching. We're basically watching Star Ladder. I know everyone in here is watching both. Blade Mail Spectre? Suckleboosh, Roland. The upset of the tournament. So far, that probably is the upset of the tournament, huh?
Roshan has fallen to the Dire.
Wow.
Dire's structures are fortified.
EGIG? Oh boy, I wish I was watching that. Roland, can we just get the stream up on this computer so I can watch it while we're casting? Well, HGT get Roshan here. They'll deny the top tier 2 tower. And, yeah, be professional. I am professional, Roland. Come on now. Roland, everyone in chat, they're not even talking about this game. They're literally talking about Na'Vi in my WPC chat. There's that Desolator onto the Ember Spirit, though. So he won't be going the Battle Fury build. I think this makes sense here. The low health heroes, or pardon me, the low armor heroes, and just the fact that HGT are so far ahead. I actually think the Battle Fury build on Ember Spirit is a little more late game oriented. XTT in a bit of trouble here in the mid lane. He will pop his BKB, and he's not afraid of anything. He'll go ahead and pop the wall and vacuum him in. That does force out the Stampede, and TongFu will retreat. Sorry, Fox. He just rotates into the Ancients, no problemo. There's that Blink Dagger now, out on the Dark Seer. And Mjolnir also out on the Wraith King. Just such a good item on that hero. I think it synergizes with him so well. Enchantress. She's also picked up her Ag Scepter. So HGT just looking good across the board. They've picked up kind of those core items they need. And I think their kind of last big pickup is going to be a pipe. Though to be perfectly frank, there's not that much magic damage here. I'm not sure a pipe is even a worthy pickup now that I say it out loud. You got physical damage from the Rost awards. I mean, you've got the old OD ulti, which will get absorbed by the pipe. But all in all, mostly physical damage from TongFu. Of course, Dazzle, physical as well. There's a Blink Dagger on the Rubik. He's got plenty of positioning tools here. 4 staff and a blink on old Ruby. The Grand Magus. We'll see what Darkseer wants to pick up next. I'm trying to think what would be more exciting than a pipe. Maybe just moving into something like a Shiva's. Do a little bit of extra damage, get some utility out on the field. We will see a smoke from HGT. They'll move into the mid lane. And TongFu, they're pretty spread out here. They're kind of in a 2-1-2 setup, which may actually work out well for them. Kind of minimize their losses. HGT can take an easy 5-on-5 engagement right now. And TongFu will be spread around the map. Axe, position about this tier 2 tower, but he retreats straight away. HGT press forward, they'll clear up the creep wave. Glyph available for the Radiant, and they will reveal their smoke. It will just be a free tower. They don't even use the glyph here. Nor should they. They've still got 3 minutes on the Aegis, and HGT, they just want to go high ground. No reason not to. TongFu, they'll be forced to port back. Fire Remnant back. They force out the glyph before the fight even starts. Hellbear Smasher in the front lines, just tanking up that tower. He's about to expire anyhow. Astral coming out onto the Wraith King. He's got himself that static link buff here, or static charge, pardon me. Stampede forward. Who are they going for? They'll hop out of the base, blinks forward. They'll drop the Rubik to start things off. BKB's popped aplenty. Rost awards coming down. CSMJ in the front line. Grave out on the Shadow Shaman. That'll buy him a bit of time. They'll try and pursue on the Dazzle. They'll find that kill. Looking to finish off the Rasta as well. Maybe they'll find it. Enchantress dies. The Sanity's eclipsed. CSMJ goes down. That'll proc the Reincarnate. Aegis has already been popped as well. That'll be the end of the OD. Now Centaur. He's trying to join this party, but it's just too late. He'll get obliterated. Not a bad hold for TongFu, but in the end, it just isn't enough. They burn their Rost awards. They proc the Reincarnation as well as the Aegis. Still a 2v3 on the field with Rost awards down. He doesn't bring too much else to the table. Glyph's already been burned. They've got a siege engine, and this will be the end of the tier 3 tower. Buyback from the Centaur. Axe house forward. Buyback from the OD as well. There's still maybe a sign of hope. CSMJ taking a lot of damage. He'll get shackled up. That'll proc the Aegis now. Pardon me, I thought they popped that Aegis already. Never mind, he's back though. Maybe they can grab something else. He'll get sheeped up. Ember Spirit, he now buys back into the game. There is a Fire Remnant down. He comes right back to the party. Bull has come out. Sleight of Fist. They will finish off Wraith King. That's the end of his unstoppable streak. Darkseer maybe in some trouble. Kaka, he gets obliterated. A great hold from TongFu. HGT. Overcommitting a bit. BKB on the Darkseer. Still on the run. Pretty Haw. He's back in the party as well as he does use those positioning tools. And HGT, they get completely repelled. Tier 3 tower with 7 hit points still standing. But it doesn't come for free. TongFu, they burn 2 buybacks there. But HGT, they also burn a buyback of their own. Really should have been a more effective exchange, I think. But they can't find it. And
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
They get punished for their overcommitment. God, I hate this headset. Killcaster headset just doesn't fit on my head right. It's tickling my face. HGT, they could be in some trouble here. All of a sudden, TongFu, they'll go straight up to mid lane. Dire Sign, they've got a glyph, they'll pop it. But they've got no Ember Spirit for 30 seconds, and he's their big defender. Wraith King up in 5. They might still be able to make a hole, but Rost awards make pushing pretty easy. Tier 3 tower will fall. Pretty Haw comes in. XDT, vacuum, wall. There's the Stampede. XDT will fall. He'll get decapitated. S chucking in those impetuses. Buyback from the Darkseer. ZSMJ, he falls, has the Reincarnate. Might still be able to turn this around. A lot of high health heroes here on the Radiant side, but no, they're ready for it. And that's a dead Wraith King. HGT, they were looking good in this lane. They've still got a huge lead, but all of a sudden, they're in big trouble. This is going to be the end of the mid lane of Rax. Buyback from the Wraith King, and it still won't be enough to hold the Rax. Vacuum in towards the wall. A lot of damage from the Ember Spirit. Maybe they can clean up TongFu. OD, Shadow Shaman, Axe, all 3 dead. MT, As LD would say, they're all dead, and the racks hold. What? 70 hit points left. What a game, guys. Is this Dota? Both sides back to back. It looks like they'll secure racks. Neither side able to do it. And of course, they focus the melee racks. They'll regenerate back up. Oh, no. And now it's going to go the other way. HGT, they'll counter push. Buybacks on cooldown for both sides. But TongFu, they've got the big disadvantage here. Shadow Shaman, he buys back right away. Axe has one available. HGT, it's a 5v2 on the field. Tier 3 tower falls. Exposed racks, but they've got no creeps. Backdoor protection. There you go. It's expired. Axe buys back. 5v3 on the field. No buybacks available for OD, nor the Centaur. Rack's in trouble. They hop forward. Can they grab the kills here? They get the Shadow Shaman. Dazzle with the Grave on himself. Sorry, Fox. BKB popped. Impetus doing nothing. They'll get the kill on Dazzle. Axe forced to go back to the well. It will be HGT who comes out ahead after this ping-pong exchange. Ping's coming out on the top lane. They want another lane of racks, and no reason they shouldn't be able to get it here. Still a 5v2 on the field. OD respawning. Still have 10 seconds till the Centaur comes up. ZSMJ just chunking this tower. He does have a reincarnate here. Might need to be a little bit careful. We'll get put inside the Astral, but will it be enough? They should be able to secure a kill on this top tier 3 tower. Bolas forward. ZSMJ with the ultimate available. Does get culling bladed, but that's okay. That's what he was looking for. Sets up the slow on these other heroes. Centaur, telekinesis back. Outworld Devourer dies before he can do much else. Axe once again survives but forced back to the well. Tier 3 tower down. Top racks exposed. And now TongFu in big trouble. Looks like HGT will be able to secure the deal and get a 2-for-0 racks exchange. Really a 4-for-0 if you want to count it that way. 2 full lanes of racks. And still, 3 dead for TongFu. HGT are just going to stick around. They've got all 5 alive. High hit points, no reason to back out. This will be a dead tier 3 in the bottom lane. TongFu in Hail Mary mode here. They have to do something. This is their last stand. BKB popped by the Axe. Dazzle gets obliterated again. He finds a kill on the Rubik. But will it be enough? Sorry, Fox. Now looking for a kill on the Enchantress. It will pay with his Shadow Shaman. Last tier 3 standing falls. Sorry, Fox. Now left all alone. There's the GG from TongFu. What a game. What a game.
Radiant's bottom. Dire victory.
What an ending. Talk about back and forth. HGT overcommitting on the tier 3. They get wiped. Force some buybacks. TongFu, they press forward. Kill the tier 3 tower. 17 hit points left on the racks. They get wiped. HGT press forward, and they catch TongFu without the buybacks. And there you go. That's your game. Holy Toledo. We'll take a look at some happy faces here. HGT, they're nothing but smiles. There's the SMJ. He's yelling. He's happy. Oh, boy. So, that was game 1 of 6, ladies and gentlemen. And, oh, is that Echo? Do I sound like a robot? I think I do. I think I do. I gotta, how's that? Is that, I think that fixes it. Yeah, there you go. Sorry about that, guys. Robot Zyora here. So, gonna be a fun night. I am solo for all 6 games. We're trying to conserve some energy here, trying to have a little bit of funsies. We're watching Star Ladder while we're casting WPC. So, we're gonna have our second best of 2, our second game in this best of 2 series between TongFu and HGT coming up next, folks. Thank you for joining us here. Don't go anywhere. WPC recovers after this. Recovers. Cheese and crackers. Continues after this short break. It will be XTT. He's the MVP this round. The Darkseer, the Ishkafel player, ending 10-4 and 28. That's right. XTT involved in 38 of the 41 kills in that 40-minute game. That is one active Darkseer. Darkseer.